Hello and welcome back to F1 Manager 24 Creator Team Mode. It's race 22, 23 and 24. I'm making the executive decision off the back of 3 unspectacular and somewhat status quo races to just deal with the remaining 3 in one video. So all 3 of Las Vegas, the Sprint of Qatar and the Abu Dhabi final race, all done today in this one video. We're also making the executive decision to run this experiment early. I was going to run this in just the final race because it wouldn't matter in that theory, but at the same time we're miles off the team ahead of us, and unless there's a complete random race at the end, Williams aren't going to get 10 points with the way the game is as things stand. So to get us either, and even if we finish 8th, doesn't matter because we only need 9th. So I've given Gary 100 out of 100 because I want to see if maximum composure actually gets you more confidence from overtaking than being overtaken. Bear in mind his composure was 83 because he's happy. He's always the only happy one. His composure was 83 to begin with. It was not much of an upgrade. Matthew Ogle, who was neutral, had 81. Both had 81 as a base composure rate. It was just Gary Ganler's mentality that made it 83. Both had 81 as a base rate. So they both should be quite good at getting more confidence than losing it for their drivers when they get overtaken. Yet we saw the situation with Zane in particular, we saw the situation with him quite significantly, that he was losing confidence at an insane rate when he was stuck in these battles. So I have made that one the same percentage effectively. So 50% more on both, 121 out of 150. So everything's just been improved by 50% basically, but so is the threshold. So I want to see if this is a percentage situation or just a raw number statistic. Because if it's a raw number statistic, it's going to be more work. But if it is a percentage thing, then there's not a lot I can do about it. Unless I can make them go over 100%. And I think the game might stop me from doing that. I don't know if it does. I haven't tried it. But if it's basically saying you've got 80% of your composure, then it doesn't matter what the total number is. So I want to see if this will make a difference. And I want to see if 100 out of 100 is actually status quo, because right now we are still losing more for being overtaken than overtaking. We're getting gain wise. So that's the deal. I will see you straight for the briefest of qualifyings. Depending on how this runs, I'm not quite sure how much of qualifying is actually even going to be featured in this, because it's obviously going to be a big old bumper episode. Apparently changing his statistic in the background has made him an entirely different race engineer, according to the mentality thing here. That might be a bug. I don't know. Obviously, it's my own doing. But you can be rest assured I'm doing 18th of higher on all of these.
Welcome to the Silver State of Nevada for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Here we are in the entertainment capital of the world as Formula One prepares to take over the Las Vegas Strip. As night falls, the stars will be coming out, and we're in for a spectacular show, both on and off the track. Lando Norris delivered for his team in the last race and will head into this weekend with plenty of confidence. Can the Brit bring it home in this round too? Okay then, let's get to it.
Qualifying in Las Vegas is going to be largely irrelevant because I'm taking penalties for both drivers as they both take an engine and Mick takes a gearbox because they both need that by the end of the season for sure. So might as well do it now and get it out of the way. I can't actually afford to give Zane Maloney a cool red flag. What's this? It's George Russell, clearly. I can't actually afford to give Zane Maloney a new gearbox yet because that one will cost me money. Oh, George, what have you done there? Why? Clearly your fault. I feel like Zane didn't get a full lap in there, 2 seconds off. Obviously one of the knockout places taken by George Russell as we do a lap in Q1. Zane Maloney on the bubble in 16th. Mick weirdly in 7th. 2 Aston Martins in 13, 14. Makes me feel like there's certainly room for improvement for some drivers here. Daniel Ricciardo popping into 6th does make my justification for Mick Schumacher coming out valid, seemingly. We'll expect the same from Tsunoda, Hamilton and both Aston Martins at the very least. It's whether or not the other drivers can get past 2. I feel relatively safe with Mick, obviously, but Maloney needs improvement because I have no idea what these other drivers are going to do. So, Zane, over to you. Crucially, a lot of those drivers were on track ahead of them. Mick still stayed 9th. Only Albon got through in the end, past him. Maloney crossing the line now to get past Ocon, who was the only person who actually went ahead of him and actually does so. So, there we go. course, as I say, qualifying is largely irrelevant. Mick Schumacher's penalties will be more than Maloney's anyway, so even if he is fast, he's done a purple third sector on his outlap. It is interesting as we watch Mick Schumacher here that seemingly the Red Bulls, who were way off it last weekend, are back on it this weekend. As Mick just deals with his final portion, Zane ahead of him on track. I did it the other way around just because Mick was so far off I wanted the toe. Zane does do a green somewhere, but doesn't actually improve. Mick only improves to be a respectable 16th rather than way off. So he will definitely start last. Alonso out though. Can Hulkenberg displaces Maloney, but that one's kind of irrelevant. Hamilton makes himself safe. Albon is done. Although reports of McLaren's death was greatly exaggerated there. Max Verstappen though, only 3 1,000s. They are definitely back on it this weekend. And as one of 2 people with penalties, other than Charles Leclerc, will definitely be at the back anyway, so that was largely relevant. I did use used tyres both times. But we've already done qualifying, Crofty, so that data is pretty much irrelevant now. Can only take 4 laps out here, so guessing fuel recovery is quite bad, but 2 kilograms per lap. Same strategy with both drivers.
Well, it's great to have you with us, folks, as we settle in for the weekend's Grand Prix action. Our attention shifts to Lewis Hamilton and what he can produce in this race.
Just sitting inside the points places, they need to defend well and look to push hard where possible.
So let's see what today has in store, shall we? We're all ready to go in Las Vegas. And it's lights out, and away we go.
I don't think they've optimized where that safety car the medical car. Is it medical car or safety car? I forget which one it is. The back medical car, I guess it is. I don't think they've quite optimized where that's placed in creatine there, because it was between the 11th row. Of course, George Russell 20th, directly ahead of us as well. So the crucial thing here is to pay attention to successful passes and losses. Bizarrely, Mick Schumacher has not gained confidence from overtaking, but Zane Maloney has lost confidence from being overtaken. Realistically, we're waiting for a situation where it's just a DRS back and forth, which we're not going to get with George Russell. Crucially, lap 4, just overtaking Pierre Gasly finally with Mick Schumacher, but we're yet to be in a situation where nobody has DRS on the driver in front, so we might be about to join one now with Mick Schumacher being out of DRS, although he's going to be in DRS to Zhou Guanyu, who's been pushed out of the way by George Russell. So thank you, George, for that. Don't really get to see the experiment in full force just yet. This is probably not the race for that experiment, thinking about it, just because we are starting from the back, we are more likely to go forwards than backwards. It's a bit of a wild race. Lap 6, there's so many cars here, but if we take a quick look at the front, that's ridiculous. I think I can already tell you the result of the 50% experiment. That's a huge chunk of confidence he just lost for being overtaken. He was above his threshold of very high before he got overtaken there. Schumacher overtakes Hulkenberg. This could be the one to get him back. There's a bit of natural degradation there, actually, for whatever reason. Nothing actually happened, and he lost a bit of confidence. Actually, I thought it was more likely Hulkenberg would get past Mick than Mick would get past George Russell there, but he won't have DRS next time. We'll see what 100 out of 100 does, thanks to Garrett. See, just lost a bit there again, but defended. 100 out of 100 seems to be doing better than Zane Maloney's. 121 out of 150, so I think it is percentage-based. I'll keep an eye on it over the remaining 2 races, but early signs are... I still think he's still losing. I still think you're losing more for being overtaken than for overtaking. But you're also getting slightly more for defending as well, which is helping kind of offset that differential with Mick. Probably because he has more confidence to begin with. That's helping his defending. Yeah, see, the huge chunk gone for overtaking there. But then he gets a little bit for defending immediately, and that's kind of counterbalancing. Whereas Zane has now overtaken both Gasly and Zhou Guanyu after being overtaken by Gasly previously. And he's still not back up to neutral. So he's made 2 overtakes, and he's still not back to where he started. So I do think it is a percentage game. I think changing the base maximum is irrelevant. But we'll see. I'm not going to report the entire time, but I thought I'd just check in on that one while they were doing fighting, and there was a bit of back and forth finally. First round of pissed off still sees us at the back, but trying to make do with hard tyres and failing miserably. 18th is going to be a challenge, actually. Hamilton's dropped right through. I don't know why. Science mechanical fault, 22nd lap. We could get a retirement. We could get a retirement in its engine. So that will help. Certainly Mick as well, because he's 19th right now. That won't help.
Oh, and there wasn't a lot that could be done.
Oh, Zhou Guanyu. Why have you hit the barrier? It was such a light tap. I'm really hoping very minimal damages. Okay, a restart. Fuel's now fine to push that. Deploy that. We will check what the overall for this needs to be. Going light to the end would actually just about do it. And then we could, or we could go for the soft again. Okay, pitting's still better. Crucially, a lot of people on hards right now. They might actually get to the end on hards thinking about it, but Jaguani does get a penalty, so it definitely was his fault. I thought it was, that's what it looked like. I'm glad the game agreed. But the weirdly ailing Hamilton is in front, although he's got that inside line. With you softs as well, as Mick goes back and forth with Magnussen, doesn't lose a lot of net there. That might be the proof in the pudding, really. That 100 out of 100 is better than 120 out of 150. I suspect he'll deal with these two hard runners. Sainz's issue is dragging him down the order. Hamilton's actually faring much better now for some reason, and kind of going through the field ahead of us. It's Ocon that's suffering from this restart most of all, it seems like, on his hard tyres. There's Mick's on the outside. That's a move done and a move completed. Although he's coming back again. There we go. Schumacher overtakes Ocon. Well done. Then Sainz, who's outside of DRS, should be easily dispatched. That engine has given up on Carlos Sainz. He doesn't need to retire. He's just struggling. Although he can't get past him, apparently. What do we do on the next straight? So there they are. Problem solved. Big gap to the teams ahead. I'm watching the overtaken situation, and you still are losing more for being overtaken than overtaking, even on 100 out of 100, which is dumb. Kevin Magnussen has decided to bin his race by the looks of things. Doesn't retire. He's kind of fine to continue. Might pit though, so that was Secura's 18th, because he's already behind. For some reason, pitting has not really actually helped us. We are gradually clawing in Sainz, but not to a degree where I don't think we'll even get past him. Actually, we might get past him by the final lap, but these hards should be... It's weird, when you want the hards to be bad, they're not. Although people are now pitting, weirdly. Not going to give Mick anything, but other than a headache because Hamilton exists. Mick's got past Sainz, though, finally. After pitting, he does catch up to him and overtake him. But, yeah, that's an ailing Sainz, so it's not really much of a victory. I think I might be right to bumper this off. Albon crucially 11th, by the way. Leclerc is still blower by the end. His final lap. Ricciardo's going to get away with this. Oh, no, he's pitting. He's pitting. I'll give Albon a point then, won't it? Daniel Ricciardo, what's happened here? On the outside of Stroll, just nips him. Just nips him. Wait, why are you pitting? And how have you lost the right-hand side of your bumper? Why are you pitting? It's the final lap, Daniel. How have you lost the right-hand side when you hit him with your left-hand side? Why are you giving them a point? Oh, it could be Bottas, actually. It could be Bottas. Bottas has got Albon. This is the fun fight. In fact, Daniel Ricciardo might even get out ahead of them. No, he doesn't. Two big mechanical failures here about potential. The fact that Sainz hasn't blown up, actually, is kind of crazy. So this is all about who gets a point here. Like I say, 10 points is unlikely for them to get back, but 1 point. Albon's trying to bolt, but Bottas has gone with him. And Daniel's actually still there to pick up the pieces if should they mess up here. So, will Albon hold on for a 5th point? Or will Bottas hold on, or steal that for a 2nd point? Verstappen wins. Oh, Valtteri, you've let them have that. Mick had to pull away from Ocon, and did so, thankfully. Not going to get to Sargent, I don't think, are you, mate? No. Albon holds on for a 5th point. Why did Daniel pit? Just running around with a broken wing for 1 lap would have been better off. It's only a bitterly disappointing race. George actually got to 7th, by the way. It's only bitterly disappointing because it might have hurt us. We weren't going to get anything out of it starting from where we did, but... And unfortunately, Red Bull, of course, got more points than McLaren there, so... And Ferrari only got 4. 2 races to go. It's basically impossible. Although we did get a good pit stop for the first time. 6 points. We're 34 behind. If I'm not mistaken, there's also engagement sponsorship money coming in after this one. Zane gets 81 for being crashed into. Oh yeah, we got a decent amount of money this. We can at least give him a gearbox. There actually is a sponsor plan still remaining, even though there's only 2 races, 6-week plan. Okay, so there is still a chance for a little bit more money. Crucially, the crash only took his gearbox, which is what I was going to have to take anyway. Intriguingly, all of the top 4 drivers will be open to go. This has got to be a creator team bug. The fact that the top everyone is open to negotiation. I know he has 1 month left on his contract, but Oscar's buyout fee is similar to his salary, actually, so that could be swings and roundabouts, but you would need the 4 million to actually get him in. And Lando exists now, but it will be a very high price. But nonetheless, Team attractiveness, team marketability, all that stuff's going to go up for next season thanks to the hospitality area being improved.
Our calendar brings us to the Middle East this weekend for the Qatar Grand Prix. The Sale International Circuit is a speed demon, fast and flowing with a long main straight, one that's sure to see plenty of overtaking action.
In this round, the teams have 2 races to contend with both the Sprint and the Grand Prix offering the chance to bag some championship points.
So stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. The weekend starts here.
Suppose you've got a brand new gearbox in. This one does cost us money as well as being a penalty. And those are terrible first laps. Mind you, it's only the Sprint. I don't really care. We'll give Mick Schumacher our attention for this lap, but I really don't know if we're even going to get out of SQ1 here. Oh, cool. It's not actually put the gearbox on Zane Maloney's car. That's fine, I guess. Sprint doesn't really matter anyway. We're not going to get top 8. And we don't improve. Wow. Literally back of the grid. It's a medium run race. Can't change the gearbox now. Oh, I can actually change the gearbox now. Okay. I shouldn't be able to change the gearbox now, but it doesn't really make a difference.
We're ready for the Sprint here in Qatar. And it's lights out and away we go.
A great start from Mick Schumacher, who's actually up to 19th off that. Maybe it's just a bad start from Gasly as well that compounded that. And Mick's actually also going to try and get Ocon to boot. No fuel taken out, of course, in a sprint. It's all largely superfluous, I guess, but because we need to get to where Tsunoda is in order to get anything out of this. With Williams 12 and 13, Haas 14, 15. Lance Stroll in 17th is a strange start from them. They had a bad time of things in qualifying, seemingly. I didn't actually check who started at the front, but Norris and Piastri are there now. That's a wonderful shot. Well, he at least does actually have the gearbox installed now, so that's fine. He obviously take that pain for the actual race, and he does get past Gasly, so it's not absolute tragedies. Meanwhile, Mick's getting Bottas. I wasn't looking at him. And here we go. Just slides through on the inside by Valtteri. Really, by Valtteri. And immediately into the DRS of the cars ahead, which is good news. Zhou Guanyu claimed as well, but DRS, of course, they're now activated on that second lap, but it's only on the main straight, which meant Zhou Guanyu got taken by both Zane and Gasly. And I think Maloney has probably just enough to get Gasly out of DRS by the time we get to the end of this lap. Maybe. Crucially, though, I don't think we're going to make too much of an inroad in this race. There's a chance Mick gets Hülkenberg. All this is just putting wear on the engine parts, I think, more than anything. It's lap 8, and finally, Hülkenberg doesn't have DRS off someone else. Namely, his teammate for the last few laps. So this could be Mick's chance. Simultaneously, actually, Maloney has claimed Ocon and now Bottas behind. That is Mick through and into Magnussen's DRS, who will probably try and target next lap. Sargent actually beating Albon at this point in time. Nope, never mind. Hülkenberg came back. Never mind. It's not stuck yet. Hülkenberg forced off the track, and that is the position claimed finally. Maloney not in Hülkenberg's DRS, though. Has dropped Bottas, crucially. Penultimate lap, Zane Maloney gets past Sargent. Mick's already done this. I wasn't really paying attention to the Williams driver, if I'm completely honest. I didn't really see why he dropped away from his teammates so rapidly towards the end of this race. But both our cars have now claimed him. Can't just be... Some people actually try to do this on the soft. Can't just be tyres because Albon's are worse. So I don't really know what's happened with Sargent there. It's pity we're not lapping that much faster than Albon. Well, that's more respectable 14th, 15th here, so it does seem like we are a little bit more capable again. Some bad laps from the RBs and Hamilton have made this a little bit more interesting in regular qualifying. As we join the track, perfectly spaced for this flying lap. 2 cars on track ahead of them. If they're done with their laps, they might be able to catch them and pass them on a straight. Or if they're not, then they'll never catch them. Mick already in 14th though, has to make sure he fends off the challenges from Ricciardo, Tsunoda and Hamilton. So that's 3 drivers we are expecting to go faster. And he's obviously only got a buffer of 2 vehicles, so he does need to go faster than Sargent or Hülkenberg, or at least one of that batch ahead. And considering that is less, well, it's exactly half a tenth to Bottas, hopefully that's doable. Zane Maloney, a lot more time to get, a full half a second, realistically. And judging by the difference that Russell's just done, Hülkenberg and Ricciardo actually aren't going again. So Ricciardo's in real big trouble. Especially as, well, Mick's actually not gone faster, but especially as Maloney's in the faster middle sector. Mick, what are you doing? These are brand new tyres at Qatar on a rubbered-in track now. How have you not gone faster, Sunshine? Zhou Guanyu, no improvement. Magnussen, basically no improvement. Maloney goes 10th, gets himself out of trouble. Zhou Guanyu out, Magnussen definitely out. Tsunoda, Ocon, Hamilton and Gasly. There's Ocon, that's only 18th for him. That was Hamilton, I imagine. That's 5th. That's Ricciardo out. Sargent goes better, that puts him out of danger. Tsunoda on a flyer? Yeah, Tsunoda's on a flyer. Mick's probably out of qualifying. Gasly's going as well, just catching Leclerc at the final corner. Probably not in the way. Here comes Tsunoda for 7th. And then Gasly last. 17th actually does get Mick as well. 18th for Mick. He really needed to improve, but look at that time difference. Literally half a tenth. Crying shame. Leclerc with another penalty, which is crazy. Of course, Zane actually has a penalty, which is the depressing thing. Flying lap aboard Zane Maloney. I know I'm not going to get top 10 with him, so I just sent him on a used set that keeps us 2 fresh softs for the race, should we want them. Obviously, the softs aren't great at Qatar, but they burn up too quickly. But if there's safety cars or whatever, because it was a crash-heavy track last year, notably here, could be fun. Bottas had an issue on his flying lap, so he's in danger. He's actually gone back in already. He's on a slower first sector, which is depressing a little bit. These are obviously better tyres. They're not perfect tyres, but they're better tyres. Better middle sector, that's more like his Zane. Don't know if people are behind you on track. Stroll finishes his lap and stays 10th. He's in danger. Sainz, of course, is lurking outside the top 10. Sorry, should I have put him on new tyres? Did we actually have a chance at the Q3? It doesn't matter. He has a penalty. I forgot he had a penalty. It's better to not have that pain. 11th is the best. 11th is the best, really, because we've not burned tyres and we're still going to have that penalty that takes us to the back. Of course, it'd be 12th because of Sainz. Qualifying 3 for Qatar is Piastri from Perez, the quote-unquote number 2 drivers, ahead of Lando and Max. Both Ferraris with penalties now. Zane and Albon. The crucial thing was getting ahead of Albon with his penalty. That's the only thing we really needed to do. Soft, medium, medium. That feels good to me. Apparently I can do that with Zane Maloney, so I'll do that with Zane Maloney. Actually, no. I won't do that with Zane Maloney. I will do that with Zane Maloney. And obviously set that correct. Switch to the medium, because then if there's a safety car there, we can go on a soft slightly earlier and just be conservative on it if we have to. Or hard.
The anticipation is really building here. The fans in attendance are absolutely buzzing with excitement. You and I won't be the only ones keeping an eye on Oscar Piastri, Karun.
They're on pole, and it's well deserved. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Right, let's get to it then. We're about to get going here in Qatar. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Mick starts 18th, Zane Maloney 15th. Still, actually, the penalty wasn't that big for a gearbox. 3 places. Mick Schumacher off the line. Goes backwards because Daniel Ricciardo... Actually, I don't even know what's happened there. I don't know who's got past him. Fighting Daniel, though. But instead slides up the inside of Gasly. I don't want the Ricciardo overtake. I want the Gasly overtake as a replay. Thank you very much. Although he's going to get taken back now. Thank you for that, Pierre. And Albon gets Maloney. So that's fun. So despite the fact that Mick is actually... Bear in mind again, Gary's on 100 out of 100. The fact that Mick is 1 place up on lap 1, he has less confidence than when he started. Great work. From what I'm learning from this is there is no way to fix confidence. Oh, I missed the Maloney Sargent button there. I just saw it at the top and then completely ignored it. That's my bad. Should have watched that because we weren't looking at him. But he's immediately dropped off. The Williams squabble between themselves, allowing Mick Schumacher to get cozy up behind them. Which might be a problem for Albon. I said that's a bigger problem for Sargent. Bye. Ogle, are you okay there? It's not him that span. I don't think I need to watch that because I saw it happen. Alonso has an issue early on. That could be interesting later on. Maloney in the train with Hülkenberg, who's just in a second of Bottas, but might not be by the time we get to the detection point in most of a lap's time. And isn't now, frankly. So what is the tyre situation? Hülkenberg and Bottas are both on medium. Zhou Guanyu and Sargent at the back. Now, obviously having spun with a worse medium. And now 3 hard runners in Tsunoda, Sainz and Leclerc, both Ferraris. Wait, that literally says overtakes Hülkenberg and I didn't see it happen. I was literally watching them and I didn't see it. Tuned right out, whatever reason, but there we go. Better tyres, I suppose. Soft on medium. I'll take that. Magnussen has an early mechanical fault as well, but he's 20th anyway, so probably not in the picture to start with. I'm still pushing the fuel, I just realised. Maloney, if you can stay in Bottas' DRS, that would be superb. So if we can conserve and just still stay behind people, that'd be great. I don't really want to get in a slinging match with Bottas, backwards and forwards. Albon failing to stay in DRS, but Mick just hanging on, which is good news because that actually might mean that basically in the current situation, Albon can just drag Mick without him actually overtaking, which would be superb for him specifically, as Hulkenberg goes for a wonder, being overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo, who's not really made inroads at the start of this. Slightly weird that Daniel's had a worse start than we have, considering the car he's in. Although I say that, he is now on the tail, of course, with Hulkenberg vacating the space behind Mick. It won't be long until he's pestering. But I don't know how easy it would be to get through when there's a train that starts with Bottas, so everyone's DRSing away. It's actually gone the other way around. Albon's fallen away, and Mick's gone, I'll go by, thank you very much. If you could then get in the DRS of Bottas, Mick, that would be superb, and that would sort that one out. That'd be really, really good of you. I think it might be a problem, because, yeah, 1.5 seconds has already been taken back, in fact. Alonso's issue gets worse, and yeah, unfortunately, Albon falling off Bottas has caused Mick to get past him, and then Ricciardo to get past Mick. So Bottas is now coming through. You have to go off these tyres a lap early just because of that. We may just have to go a bit conservative in the middle of the stint just to make sure we get to the end. But I couldn't do a full lap on sub 30, so we're going to have to go for it now. It's a little bit early, really. Actually, not a lot of people have pitted yet, which actually, for a track like this, would be a real big help for Mick. His undercuts are huge. Not a great pit stop, though. So Albon, Ocon, and a couple of us are already pitted. Yeah, Albon comes out in DRS, and obviously Mick's not had tyres warmed up. Hulkenberg's had an issue. That's going to really take him out of things, even more than he was before. So his confidence is back at status quo, which should be higher than high, frankly. Only up to 9th if there's a sudden incident, because people have pitted. Gonna have to pit Maloney this lap because he's hit 30% tyres. Comes back out 13th. It's actually not that bad. Still behind Ricciardo. Albon's really pulled away from Mick. Has he gone on to another set of softs? He has, that's why. We'll watch him overtake Bottas, though. Albon's about 2 seconds behind Zayn as things stand, so I'm not sure now as those soft tyres of Albon go off, he'll actually catch Zayn on fresh mediums. The differential between the two tyres might now go against him from here, and that does seem to be the case, as actually Mick and Bottas do kind of get into a bit of a backwards and forwards, and now Bottas has disappeared away from him. He just went for it for a bit there because he actually started to go past Ocon as well, and now has disappeared from him. So yeah, so if Mickey you could deal with him, and then if you could then deal with deploying away from him, get into Ocon's DRS instead, that'd be great. I don't think we need to conserve from here. We'll just do 5 laps on conserve, just to make sure we hit the targets. Bottas now has a mechanical fault. Albon and Gasly are pitting early because they were on softs. Have they gone on hards? They're 3 stopping. Well, that's changed the complexion of this. Lap 36, still not a huge amount that's actually happening in this race. As much as I am zooming through it for the sake of the video, I would be zooming through it anyway. Alonso's pitted and come out behind Zayn, but he's got massive mechanical issues. As I stated already, Albon and Gasly have pitted again for a second time already, but onto softs again. So, in fact, Sargent is on a second pit stop already, and he's on 39% softs. I don't know what he's done. Has he done soft, and Albon started on a different tyre, I guess? Because Magnussen's on a 3-stopper as well, onto another set of softs. Ocon's pitted for a second time, but later than them. And this, I think, is Alonso's final stop onto a medium already. So, same with Tsunoda ahead. They've stopped a second time and come out ahead of Maloney. That's depressing. In fact, they've got a full pit stop. In fact, Mick's been lapped, so this fuel is absolutely fine no matter what. So Mick's pit stop will take him behind Albon and Bottas again, but he doesn't need to stop again, crucially, and Ocon for that matter as well. Bad stop, 2.8. I mean, it's not an error, of course, but it is just a bad stop. Hulkenberg comes in same lap, comes out behind Gasly and Zhou Guanyu, who are probably struggling. And in this period, Mick will be so much faster than all of those ones ahead. Meanwhile, Maloney's got a little bit more wiggle room. Schumacher gets past the first of those, and Zhou Guanyu awards us by then pitting out of the way anyway. So that's one less for Mick. So I think Ricciardo pitted and ended up behind Zayn. He did, yeah. And now he's come back through. So that's going to hurt confidence a little bit, but his confidence was fairly medium anyway, because he'd not really been involved in anything for a while, so it gone back to status quo. Bottas now pits for a second time and has a mechanical fault on top of that. Mick doing personal best, which is going to help his confidence as well for good measure. Somehow doing the same lap time as Albon, though, who is on 41% softs. Make it make sense, please. Ah, no, there we go. He goes a full 2 seconds faster. This short period, he's going to have much better tyres than Albon. But Albon's probably going to end on another soft, I suspect. Or he's ended on a hard. Albon's strategy is absolutely baffling. So it's going to be 13th, 14th, because no one's retired. Because Ocon is going to have to either pit or blow up, tyre-wise. And there he goes. Although Albon actually still in range of Mick here. So it might be 13th, 15th. Not quite sure why his hards are competitive. Alonso has another mechanical fault. So he must have this and then a secondary mechanical fault. Oh, Albon's pushing the hards. That's why he's going quickly. Despite the fact that Gary is warning him about it again, we are absolutely fine. Full fuel because they're lapped up to Stroll. It would be nice if we could maybe claw back Albon in these last few laps. As he's pushed those hards quite dramatically, they're not going to be much better than our mediums. And in fact, we do go half a tenth faster that particular lap. So if we can do that again... Oh, it's final lap. Okay. That's final lap for Norris, who's here. So we've got to go all the way around before we actually get final. I think we might actually have enough deployment to do full deploy for a lap and a half here, actually. Lando wins both sprint and race. And Piastri second. It's 1-2 for both. It's a shame that Red Bull, I think, have already won the Constructors. Mind you, of course, this was a sprint, so there were more points on offer, so I don't think they had confirmed won the Constructors as of Las Vegas, but it was all but impossible for them to lose it. Sainz ends up 3.5 seconds behind Alonso, who of course had a big mechanical fault, so that's why he was 12th of the top 12. A nut that is still difficult to crack, apparently, and probably could actually tackle these tyres a little bit more. Can we get into any sort of range of the Albon? No, we are still a little bit behind, but only 1.3 behind in the end. He did cut that by quite a margin. Max and Sergio being 3rd and 5th, and whatever they got in the sprint was enough of a points differential that kept them winning the Constructors as of this race. But they did go to the penultimate race, which is nice. Fortunately, drivers long since won by Max, but he hasn't won a race for a while. Yuki and Lance Stroll, weirdly, are in a fight. Fernando's still in, of course. He's only 10/12 points behind, but that'll be quite a swing on the final race. And yeah, Constructors-wise, it is 59 points from McLaren, but 35 is enough to keep that out of their range. And for some reason, we were bad in the pit stops this time round. Oh, Zane actually had a bad pit stop. If he got that right, then he would have been in DRS with Fernando. Still, he only would have been 12th. Mixed smoothness is getting marginally better as Zane still completely smashes cornering for some reason. And just a reminder before we go into the final race of things that are happening for next season. Apparently, Toby... He has another year on his contract, and he apparently didn't actually get posted in the end. Obviously, ignore the ratings of Matthew Ogle right now, just because, yes, obviously, I would like to completely fill up the week between Qatar and the final race of the season. Do we reckon this is a layover from last year, just like the mid-season board review not being actually in mid-season, because this is 1 week later, perhaps? If you change the preset, then it does actually sort it out.
The season draws to a close here with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit was completed in 2009, and we've seen a fair share of celebration and commiseration over the years since then. The scenery may be spectacular, but this weekend, all eyes will be on the track. McLaren celebrated the win in the last round, but that won't guarantee them success here today. They're going to have to work for it, just like any other team. There's nothing like a race weekend in Formula One.
So as we go out for a flying lap at the end of qualifying one here at the final race of the season, I will just something really quickly here. Yeah, for some reason the driver suits have gone super oversaturated. No idea why. So it looks particularly funny when the engineers pop up and it genuinely looks like their suits have been drawn on Microsoft Paint. You might see that at some point. But we'll watch Mick for the final time in this livery, at least. Both drivers, of course, contracted for next year, and I don't really envision myself making a change, although if Oscar Piastri is out of a contract for next year, the fact he's on a not absurd wage to begin with could be an interesting pickup. It would mean dropping one of the two drivers we have unfinished business with, and therefore still leaving them with unfinished business. Don't appear to be a huge amount of people on track at the end of this session. It's worth noting as 0-0 ticks over and the wave of checkered flags appears. Ahead, probably fine. Bottas, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Sargent, definitely all out. Ocon, Magnussen, Stroll, all on track. Stroll on an in-lap, he's done for. He's actually out. Mick, crucially, going faster in all three sectors. He's the one that needs to get away from 16th. Maloney, he did a faster sector, but I don't think he actually improved there. But watching Mick cross the line, it is 12th. Puts Zhou Guanyu in danger. Ocon only got to 17th, so it's only Magnussen that can upset the apple cart there. And he is on a flying lap. Albon and Zhou Guanyu are also on flying laps too, so Bottas could be in danger depending on what they do. Both of them go ahead. It is Bottas the one that's in danger, so Magnussen needs to go better than Bottas here, and doesn't. Kicks Albers both through in the final race of the season. Improvements, perhaps. A little late, but improvements, perhaps. Fernando has a penalty for this final race, as does Kevin and Esteban anyway, so largely irrelevant for them. So Banker laps it in, and Mick's actually about to start his flying lap. Actually, he's ended up way ahead on the track compared to Zayn for bizarre circumstances. And Zayn's not changed his tyres. Cool. Right. That's helpful. Oh, well, we'll stick with it, I guess. We'll watch Mick Schumacher then, because Zayn's irrelevant. Alaphilippe actually went faster somehow. Annoyingly, he's the one in the top 10 right now. The RBs are weird, but I presume they're doing laps. Mick did at least end Q1 higher than Zayn did, so improvements in both sectors too for Zayn Maloney as the RB of Tsunoda goes 4th. Mick sneaks into 10th, and that's that done there. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Zayn. At least you'll have 2 softs for the race. I'm going to presume that's just me not clicking rather than it not registering. It might be not registering, I don't know. Ricardo is on track. Alonso's gone 8th. Ricardo only 12th? Oh, Norris. Wait, Norris? Hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Final race of the season, Mick Schumacher sneaks into the top 10 on merit alone. Pinch me, I think I'm dreaming. I am watching Mick Schumacher drive out of the garages in qualifying 3 without any rain, red flags, or any other circumstances that would allow him to benefit from that. Mick Schumacher, just on the pure driving skill, is in Q3. And the fact that Lando didn't do a better lap for whatever reason. Mick's used tyre run at the beginning of Q3 was massively hindered by, I think it was Max Verstappen at the apex of one of these turns. So he was obviously on used tyres anyway, but it was always going to be not great, but it made it utterly woeful instead. Still doesn't really matter, because this is the one on fresh tyres that does matter. Those every time I flip over to those racing suits, it does blind me for a second. Right then, young Mickey, let's get this sorted. Tyres up to temperature. You do have to push them immediately at Abu Dhabi to get them up to temperature, which is strange. I suppose it's a night qualifying. The race course happens kind of at sunset-ish and changes to night. There is a small amount of an RB on track ahead of him. Some drivers have done laps. They're very staggered for some reason. Tsunoda is sorted. Piastri, Russell, Verstappen and Hamilton, the only ones on flyers. Leclerc and Alonso on out laps, which will turn to flyers. It looks like we will catch this RB in a good spot. Perfection. Thank you, Mick. And thank you, Tsunoda. I don't think Alonso made the checker flag, because he's taken the checker flag and he was on an out lap. So Leclerc is the last one on a flying lap. Piastri is done in current pole. Perez done in current second. Sainz done in current third. Tsunoda done in current 4th. Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton were all on flying laps. I don't think any of them are across the line yet. Mick goes to 8th. That's not going to last. Verstappen and Hamilton are still doing laps. Tsunoda is in. Max is crossing the line now and takes preliminary 2nd. Hamilton takes... That's Russell, actually. Takes preliminary 4th. Hamilton takes... Well, it was respectable, Mick. It was respectable. It's all I can say. Leclerc's a little bit back. How will Leclerc do? Last one to sort this out. It's very rare we actually get to watch Q3, so this is fun. Doesn't improve. Thank you for that anticlimax. Fernando with a penalty. Mick will start 9th. He didn't make the line. He only did 4 completed laps. Right. Okay, well, Mick with no fresh softs is looking at medium, medium, hard. I'm actually struggling to suggest anything otherwise, really. And I would be tempted to do it that way in case of safety cars, because any safety cars in the middle, you'd want to go on to a hard in that situation. So I would be tempted to do it that way around. The one stop is not viable here anymore. It used to be. So yeah, the lack of softs, of course, makes that problematic. So yeah, I think we'll just go what it's suggesting. The pit lap is probably the wrong way around just because you want to push at the beginning, but otherwise, meanwhile, Zayn does have one fresh soft, and we'll just swap over the 2. There's a 3 stop, which is actually quite viable, but we'll go for the 2 stop that looks like this.
Final checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway.
They've got to drive a perfect race if they're going to fight up from P7 in this one.
And it looks like we're good to go. Hold on tight. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
4 laps out of a possible 8 of fuel taken out as Mick Schumacher did start 9th, only for Norris to then take him immediately. So good to get out of the way nice and early there, Mick. Thank you for that. Not a huge dent to his confidence, thankfully, to start things off with. Maloney is already up to 12th. Can't remember if he was actually... I actually completely forgot where he qualified. 14th, was it? Is he up 2 places? Mick Schumacher on the inside of Charles Leclerc, who is on a soft tyre. Huh? Mick, what are you... There's people starting on hards here. Ballsy. In a race that does draw safety cars in this game, historically. Not been a huge amount of incidents, actually. As Mick swears, because I genuinely apparently done something there. It was just failing an overtake. Just being a bit over-dramatic is Mick there. Not been a huge amount of safety cars and red flags and all that jazz in races. It has to be said. Particularly in this latter half of the season. Let him go for it on the first 2 laps, as it's a kind of a 4-on-1 ganging up situation. Maloney on the back of Ricciardo behind, who might just nab DRS himself anyway. But yeah, there's 3 people with DRS behind. Hamilton, Norris gets him. Leclerc's too far behind. Schumacher's diving down the inside of Charles Leclerc, and that didn't really work out last time. It did this time. Lap 3, Hamilton still doesn't have DRS on the cars ahead of them. Norris is already up to 5th, but it is hard running Hamilton, of course. A lot of these drivers at the front did have hard tyres, including Tsunoda, who is next in line. But we are now conserving fuel. We're no longer pushing the tyres. We're no longer pushing the RS, so that is a great overtake to be getting on Lewis Hamilton. Around the sweeping left, that was candy from baby overtake. I don't know where this has come from on the final race, but I'll take it. I'm expecting long-term disappointment, of course, as I do with all these races once the fuel burns off. Meanwhile, Maloney is 3 wide on Leclerc and does the job eventually. I don't think that's even going to count as an overtake because he was technically already ahead. Yellow flag, Sainz goes wide on his hard tyres. Comes back out ahead of Bottas. That was good rejoining, actually. Credit to the game there. Being hounded by Yuki Tsunoda. It was Yuki Tsunoda, because obviously that's now showing his new place. I was good rejoining. He did wait for them lot, but did come in that gap, so which would have just waited for everyone normally, I think, previously. Currently running 8th and 9th in the final race of the season. Doesn't affect anything other than their own points tallies. Can't really get ahead of anyone other than each other. Actually, Mick needs to get back past Albon, doesn't he? Because Albon got a 5th point. So this is Project Mick, 1 point, ideally 2. I'm just going to let them race because they are on different tyres. So I don't want to let anyone through because it would just compromise them massively. I could even, whilst he's stuck behind Mick there, just tell Zane to be slightly less aggressive instead. Just keep those soft tyres functional for when they actually need to get taken off. As Schumacher gets past Hamilton again, and this time he is in DRS. No, he's not. Of someone else, but he's done it on the second straight this time around, so he doesn't get done. Maloney, what are you doing, Sunshine? What was that yellow flag for? It's a Ricciardo lockup behind all this on his hard tyres. I gotta remember these guys are on hard tyres as well. You know what? If they can actually damage their hard tyres, works for me. Yeah, unfortunately, Mick doesn't get closer to Tsunoda, which doesn't help him in that respect. So he will get taken again by Hamilton here, I imagine. Confidence is peak, though, somehow. Peak for both of them. I kind of understand it on Maloney because he's up like 5 places. Mick's only up 2, which kind of actually proves that the fact that both of these are in peak, it actually proves that the 100 out of 100 is better than the 120 out of 150 because Maloney's made more overtakes than Mick has, and he's got less confidence than Mick has. So it is a percentage game, so I will obviously revert him back to what he was before. I'll revert both of them back to what they were before, but it proves that our priority shouldn't be in amending everyone by 50%. Our priority is focusing that particular staff member on that particular attribute to make them get better in-game. We'll do it the proper way, of course. As Mick gets done by 2 drivers there instead. Still in very high confidence, though. If he cannot get done by a 3rd, that would be great. No, there goes 10th, but he is 10th. He's back to where he was at the start, and he's actually lost a place compared to where he started the race, because he would have started in 9th. Mick, old buddy, old pal, if you could not let Ricciardo through, that would be great. We're a couple of laps later on here. I think we're about to get him back. He's about to get us back, I should say. Although... Oh, that's at the back. That was Zhou Guanyu, I think. So Mick's no longer on good confidence, unfortunately. And Maloney's dropped a couple again as well. As the hard tyres come back in, I think, over the softs in particular. Hulkenberg and Sainz now with issues as well. We'll obviously fight Daniel back, I suspect. So that's going to be a bit of a back and forth. Yeah. Top now segregating out. Nobody in DRS of anyone else in the top 10. Mick is the first person in any form of DRS of anyone. Thank you, Lando Norris, for splitting the difference between Ricciardo and Mick there. As someone's got a yellow flag pulled out. Oh, it's Hulkenberg's having a nightmare, bless him. Thank you, Norris, for overtaking Maloney just before Maloney needs to pit. That's not actually told me to pit him, weirdly, so I'll do that manually. Oh, there we go. Daniel gets Maloney before he pits, but Zane will get Daniel back. He does. There we go. That's worked out lovely. Maloney will disappear into the pits, leaving Daniel completely exposed on the next lap, which is obviously the entire point. Just get him to deploy a bit. I'm just taking him off pace a little bit just to make sure he gets to the pit stops without any issues. That'll probably do us. Good stop, 2.4. I think our pit team might have been a smidge fatigued last time because they made an error and all of them quite slow. So feels like Maloney's pitted quite early in comparison to quite a lot of people here. So this could work out very well for him long term. Mick's still behind at the second DRS detection point. Makes the overtake happen second time around. So meanwhile, Maloney's getting these tyres up to temperature. Leclerc is inadvertently dragging Ocon along briefly. I suspect he'll drop him immediately as soon as those tyres get up to temperature. Oh, hard tyres for Leclerc. Why is Maloney on a medium? Oh, yeah, because he's doing soft, medium, hard, isn't he? It's hard last. That's the whole point. Yeah, Mick and Ricciardo fighting each other. Still doing decent confidence-wise. That's what I like to see. What on earth happened to the Aston Martin there? They have weirdly joined the party, though. We'll be pitting Mick next lap, I believe, as Maloney deals with the yet-to-pit Ocon. He's deploying for some reason. I'll stop him doing that. Mick's actually down to 9th. Somehow, despite having DRS on Daniel the second stint, he's actually gone backwards. Logic. Daniel Ricciardo pits a lap earlier than Mick does. Well, he's actually got closer to Leclerc on this stint. I suppose Leclerc's on the hard, isn't he? I forgot about that. As it's Mick's turn to pit. Maloney is only 1.1 behind Leclerc, so we'll have to watch that momentarily. We'll obviously come up behind Ricciardo. There's a huge gap to Bottas after that, actually, because Ocon's just pitted as well. So Mick's in very free air on that pit exit. Not actually that far behind Ricciardo. He didn't do too badly on his in-lap. Albon gets a mechanical fault. That's going to help long-term, although I don't think he's pitted yet. He was one of the hard runners, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Well, that's good news, is the fact that we've pitted and we're only 3 seconds behind Albon, who we were obviously behind with Mick last race. Mick's a little bit further back, of course, but the fact we've got that much closer to Albon and he's yet to pit is a good sign for our drivers, although we've got to go on to a hard at some point if there are retirements later on. We're approaching halfway in this race. Stroll's developed a mechanical fault behind this situation, but Ricciardo has joined Maloney instead now. He has disappeared. I say disappeared up the road. This is only 3 seconds ahead of Mick, really. Well, 5, actually, I just realised. We're still only 2 seconds behind Leclerc. Bear in mind, people are pitted now. This is Maloney in 8th, legitimately. Everyone's pitted once. This is the net race positions. Mick does have to go on a hard last, which I'm not thrilled by. But if there's a safety car anywhere in the next 10 laps, we're laughing, really. We're not laughing now because we've been overtaken and both cars are outside the points. So, top 12 incoming to be actually top 12 again. And because he's been overtaken a whole bunch, Maloney's now very sad. And he's just going backwards. So that's good fun. Thanks, Zane. It was nice to have you in this race, but never mind. I forgot about science. Now it is the top 12 being top 12. So final pit stops happened, 18 laps to go. Zane is obviously going aggressive on these hard tyres. He's got past Bottas, who he came out behind, and that should be that. Mick is pushing on his in-lap and has driven past the pits, seemingly. Cool. Science's issue gets bad, and that is a retirement. Leclerc isn't that far ahead of our drivers. I don't know what's going on with him in this race, but he's on a medium now, so he should drive away. 12 laps to go, safety car. Oh, it's Perez! And who? Zane has a fresh soft. My issue is my 2 drivers are next to each other on track anyway, so I can only really pit 1. Oh, he's facing the wrong way. That's just registered. Oh, I actually need to pit him. Mick still has a chance to pit. Screw it, I'm doing it with both. Mick has a chance to pit because he's ahead of the safety car. Somehow he got around before the leader got picked up. So he'll have even though they use softs, he'll come out a lap later. This has worked out wonderfully for Mick Schumacher. Because now it doesn't matter. He had a pit stop issue as well, which doesn't matter. This has worked out perfectly for Mick Schumacher because... Oh no, Zane got lapped by virtue of pitting because one of the leaders didn't. But it's worked out wonderfully for Mick because he's ended up behind Verstappen anyway, who would only have overtaken him on the restart. Oh, this is a nightmare for Zane Maloney. How has he used his tyres that badly on an out lap? Like under a safety car? I think he has to lap Hulkenberg immediately, incidentally. In a weird way, this is perfect for Mick Schumacher, at least, and him getting a point. Not that many hard runners in the top 10 now, but Alonso is one of them. He's approaching a lapped car is what he's doing. Safety car is over, so Mick Schumacher... I can't push his tyres, but I can obviously push the fuel and push the ERS for these first laps out of this. Maloney didn't end up too far behind. They're only 10 seconds off the lead, so they're only 7 seconds behind Mick, so it's not super tragic, but it is tragic nonetheless. 6 seconds, in fact. It's still a lot to get back, especially as Mick can't actually keep up. That was a weird on board. It sounded like he actually stopped. No DRS for lap 1, of course. Only a yellow flag as Piastri is there. Gets going behind Mick. We'll watch that. We didn't actually see what happened to Perez. We never got that replay. But Oscar Piastri... Oh, his teammates. It's McLaren on McLaren action. They're out of the constructors. Go for it. Why not? Not as clean as it was in Imola. Sorry, that's an RB second. No. Actually, that's an RB in the lead. I need to go off board here. Yeah, he's missing half a wing. Mick, my friend. Annoyingly, Maloney's dragged Bottas with him. Norris has got the penalty for that as well. I suspect he's going to come in for a front wing because that is not going to last. Yep, he is. So Piastri's behind with his own damage. Yeah, tiny chip of rear ring missing, so that's going to be problematic for him. Disaster for the McLarens in the final. Abu Dhabi brings it. A lot of the racetracks this year have been a lot tamer. Abu Dhabi still brought it. Sorry. Sonoda, mate. What on earth? What on earth is going on for you two to be winning this race? He's got the gap as well. Stroll's on for a podium. Ricciardo's there as well for good measure on softs. Let's not forget, Russell's on a hard tyre. Oh God, Russell's on a hard tyre. This is why Tsunoda's running away. Oh, Maloney's still pushing tyres. Right, okay. I just seen what's happened there. Yeah, conserve your tyres now, Zane. Conserve your tyres. Cool them down immediately, mate. We need to get Mick 2 points. So, for the team, mate, for the team. Any challenge from Bottas has gone. You know what? Happy to stay like this. We'll just use Maloney as a rear gunner. Maloney should be in front, frankly. But we'll use Maloney as a rear gunner. That will inevitably be faster than Bottas if he ever wanted a challenge. At least it's only Bottas as well, rather than Sargent and Albon to give Williams a point. Alonso never really factored... Sorry, it's actually finished. It's... What? How did that happen? What happened to the Hamilton tyres? And Stroll tyres, for that matter. How did Russell hang on in third, but Hamilton disappear? That's crazy and our perfect end, really. How have RB got a 1-2 out of nowhere at the end of this? Why are we focusing on Lewis? Why is a 7th place Hamilton the story of the day, apparently? I mean, the disturbingly tall Yuki Tsunoda. But yes, first win, thank you, crew. In bizarre circumstances. What an insane podium to finish things off with. It is 3 points for our team as Mick technically holds on to a 9th place in the end. And Zane actually goes off 3 places and Nick a 10th. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris is coming together. Critical for them. Doesn't actually affect anyone position-wise because Charles Leclerc only picked up 4 points. Max Verstappen, the only person otherwise in the top 6 to get points, which is incredible. Daniel Ricciardo's podium doesn't even get him ahead of anyone. No one actually moves position apart from Kevin Magnussen and Pierre Gasly on countback. We solidify 7th. Don't get in the DHL fastest pit stop. We end that 10th. You can't see Haas beneath us. I don't know how many points they actually have. I'm actually surprised that first pit stop wasn't in there. Oh, they've gone to 2.3s now. There we go. Max Verstappen victorious. Red Bull victorious as well. By hefty margins in the end. 70 points. I mean, as constructors goes, that's not huge, but for drivers-wise, still 140 points despite correcting the course halfway through. But I do appreciate that it's not 2x2, which it was every single year last year, pretty much. Sergio Perez actually only 6th in this particular one. Last year, it would have been Max and Sergio. But driver does seem to factor into it a little bit more, as George Russell actually scores more than Hamilton. Lance Stroll scores more than Fernando Alonso. And Zane scores more than... Well, mind you, Zane is technically higher rated. Zane scores more than Mick in the end. F2 sees Isaac Hadjar win from Ollie Behrman, who... don't know if any of these lot are stepping up, actually. We'll find out next time. Andrea, Kimi, Antonelli only 4th. Dennis Hauger, our lad, 9th. I've just realised this is tricky to read because it is showing their parent team. So his teammate, I believe, was Franco Colapinto, judging by the total score for MP Motorsport. I believe that adds up to 110. So he did beat his teammate by 22 points in that, who has the Williams affiliate position right now. So it's not a bad pickup, I don't think. Taylor Barnard actually right behind them as well, as I'm going to guess the lead for PHM as well. 15 points his teammate. So that is... Oh, we actually could see that one. So at least we picked up team leaders in our affiliate program. But everything else, as research comes in, I don't think we've forgotten to fill a hole any... We haven't forgotten to fill any gaps in, have we? Oh yeah, the Toby Brown situation is the fact we'll replace him with Randeep Singh in the new year, isn't it? Once everyone's contract runs out. That's what's happening there. These two people get replaced by Pierre Rache and Peter Padrumo. Gary Gannon gets replaced by Hugh Bird, because apparently that's the thing that we're possible to do. Obviously, I'll revert all their statistics now for the new year. We've got 3 million. I don't know if I need to do something with the money before the new year as well, but we'll go through that in the next video, because I don't know if they've made an error in the way that things happen in the new year. There was talk that you end up in the new season in debt before you get the sponsorship money in, because you have to pay for the engine before the sponsorship or something like that. Because the sponsorship used to be in the new year changeover stuff, and now it isn't. So I don't know if that's a problem. I'll have to find out. I might preempt it just to be safe, and then I'll obviously take that money back off again. But so essentially you need the money for the engine before you get the sponsorship money in, rather than the other way around now. So I don't know if I need to preempt that, but I will preempt it just to be safe. So there'll suddenly be a lot more money in the bank on December the 31st, just to be careful, so we don't end up in debt and the board doesn't hate us, because the board hates us immediately. You go into debt for one day. So we might have to circumnavigate that. But otherwise, it's been a successful season. We're not going to see the board review until next time round, but they will be happy with us. They are delighted with race performances. They are satisfied with... How are they only satisfied with 9th or above? And obviously finance, they are satisfied as well. We did score points in 4 of 12 races. Sorry, we've scored 4 points in 24 races. We need to get 12 races for this objective here, but that I think will come. So 7th place is 42 million for 2025 over the course of the season. A full 9 or so, 8.5 more than it would have been for our predicted or hopeful 9th. If I remember rightly, nothing actually changes regulations-wise. We do actually beat the 25 changes for the front wing, but we don't in other aspects. So the front wing is actually kind of the one thing that we have managed to research ahead of the penalties we'll suffer next year. But that will do it for this bumper season finale. I'll see how this one works out in the edit, and to see if it's something that we'll look forward to doing next year. I think it is. We'll run through the entirety of the off-season, and then if we have the time, we'll put Bahrain in there. Sorry, it won't be Bahrain. It'll be Australia, won't it not? Because I will amend the schedule, the season schedule for the 2025 as it will be for 2025 in real life, including the sprint races that are scheduled for 2025 as well, because we have all that information available to us. I will put that in for a realistic schedule for 2025. After that point, it's up to me. 2026 onwards, of course, there will be changes in teams in 2026, which I will obviously replicate, but they don't happen until 2026. I may do the odd livery here and there for teams that have multiple livery options available to us to put in if we so desire, because obviously I can only change them so many times. Teams that don't have a livery change at all available to us, then yeah, obviously they won't get one. But thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please comment if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, either way, feedback's nice. I will see you next time for the end of season roster reveal and all that jazz. Until then, ta-ra.